Okay, so are all three of you going to be heading to the warehouse?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so it's pretty early in the morning. It's about 9 o'clock, and you all pile up into this pretty fine-looking coach. And except for Win, it's fancier than any... Well, that's actually not true. Arturos, it's not the fanciest coach you've ever been in. Juliana, it is mind-blowing how comfortable this thing.
Wow, it's even fancier than the one we fucking stole in Beyond Carta.
Oh yeah, that was just like a basic cab for getting around. This is like rudimentary suspension.
Oh, wow.
It barely rattles at all compared to anything you've been in before. And then there's a cart behind you with a few strapping young individuals, and you start heading across the city. The direction you're heading is to the west by southwest, and you take a lot of side streets, but eventually you come onto a pretty large main street. Now, this street is very strange because the ground is almost pearlescent. This is made of some material that is not normal stone. It's like marble,
Quartz?
but it almost shines. It's not quartz, it's not crystalline as much as, stone isn't crystalline. But yeah, it's almost reflective. It's actually honestly kind of unpleasantly bright. But it is tempered a little by the sheer amount of grime on it. You follow this road for a fair ways. For the first 2 hours, you're actually traveling south most of the time. The city is in a web shape, but the rest is in a grid, so you've got to kind of move with that grid. You reach a corner of Golot Street. Now, Golot Street is very, very long, pretty much as far as the eye can see. From where you're sitting to the center of town is about 15 miles.
Dear God.
And when you look direct west, you see between the gaps in the city, you see a tower in the distance.
Which Win has been near enough to know is the palace, right?
No, the palace you went to is right up on the edge of the city near the hospital.
Oh.
That was just a 10-minute drive you did.
10-minute drive palace, okay.
This palace is a crystalline spire. It's basically a big, clear crystal with a smaller, spiky crystal burst on top of it, and then a spire. And this thing is, it's incredibly tall. It towers over all the other buildings in the area.
Just to be clear, it's a clear building, so you can see inside?
You can't see inside, but it's reflective like it's made of crystal.
Okay.
It's like quartz. You can see a little ways into it, but after a while, it becomes too opaque to see through.
Okay.
How do you all handle seeing this monolithic landmark?
Holy shit.
Win kind of stares at it for a moment and then says, "The crystal makes me a little uncomfortable because it reminds me of that dream we were in."
I know, right?
I was also thinking about the dream.
Yeah!
Like, if I was going to imagine what the exterior of that would have been, it would be that, right?
Yeah, exactly. It would look exactly like that.
Exactly like that. Oh, that's weird. That's weird. It's weird. It's
It's extremely weird.
Neo Crystal Tokyo, indeed. Is that their house? That's the castle. Is that the castle? Is that where the emperor lives?
Harenia?
The guard Herenia is up driving the cab, but there's another one inside the coach with you, Macrinia, the shorter one. He says, "Yes, that is the residence of the royal family."
Goddess.
Congrats, Jill.
How do they get up in it?
He says, "Oh, there are stairways, there are teleportation circles, there's all sorts of ways to get up in there."
Okay. Yeah, okay. Teleportation circle or like a lift or something. Sure. Like, nobody's gonna climb all the way up there, just like every day, right?
The vast majority of people don't even go up past the first third of the building.
What's in there?
Rooms, mostly.
Weird. So what's at the top then? Wait,
says-
wait. I bet I can guess. Evil Empire or something. That's where the bad guys sit. That's the bad guy's room, right?
He looks a little taken aback.
No. She looks around at the party like, right? That's like the load bearing, like Castle Kronos, right?
That is where the bad guy would sit in a case. Like, if we were suddenly to be in a location where we were trapped inside and carpets were trying to eat me, the bad guy would sit up at the top in kind of a throne and maybe have like an evil minion nearby.
Or an organ.
I feel like it's too hot up there. I want to say that they're underground. Like directly under the
Oh, you're
the
saying maybe
crystal.
the entire castle is just mirrored but upside down, and that's where the
Oh!
vampire is.
I
Yes,
like
that's
that
where the
too.
vampire is.
Uh-huh.
The guard waits for you all to finish talking. Jill, do you look back at him expectantly, expecting a real answer, or do you just...
Yes. Yeah, so that I'm guessing that's where a bunch of adventurers probably killed Volcaris or whatever something. Am I right?
My lady, that is...
Volcarin the Dark?
He flinches a little and says, yes, that is where Volcarin the Silver was brought to justice. However, it
right,
is
silver. Sorry.
approximately half a mile of solid crystal at that point. There is nothing enterable up there.
No kidding.
You see how the top part
That's
has
wild.
spikes coming out of it?
Yeah, a real do not touch.
That is where, about 500 years ago, an explosion of crystal essentially filled the entire area in from the inside out.
Hmm.
It's just
Whoa.
solid crystal up there.
She thinks for a second. So I'm just putting together a couple of pieces that I don't actually know about. So you're going to have to probably correct me. I'm gonna guess Volcarin the Silver had a whole bunch of gods in a sphere, and the king of the gods is the Crystal King. So I'm guessing the adventurers that faced down with him, they broke that open, and she points again, snaps her fingers, and that is what happens when you release a god called the Crystal King, yeah?
The guard pauses and says, accounts are unclear, but they say the Crystal King made that area inaccessible as a warning to all future rulers who might try to cause trouble.
Interesting.
He says, in a very understated way.
That sounds like there's a god up there.
No, I mean, I bet that's more of a what you leave behind, right?
Also, if I may, I like the idea that you've come to a rest on the corner of, I'd say you'd be on, what is this, 6th Avenue and Golot Street, and you've stopped at a small market to have lunch or something, and this is where you're talking with them.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. It's got a nice view of the
What's
palace.
the food like here?
The food is of middling quality.
Do they have brunch?
What kind of cuisine are we talking about?
At the kind of rate you're going, I think you mostly gravitate towards shitty street food, but you have seen buildings with all ranges of cuisine here. Very multinational.
Multispherical?
Well, when you take into account the order of magnitude that is spheres as well as individual nations, sure. You see food from many races you know, elvish food, dwarvish food, gnomish food, and much food from species you don't know or don't recognize.
Is there teriyaki here?
If you want to stop at a stall that's selling some kind of teriyaki, like vegetables or
Yeah.
fish?
Shrimp.
Teriyaki shrimp. You are in a coastal city, so I'm sure you can handle that.
Nice. Some kind of small shellfish equivalent and some fried rice. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Egg fried rice.
I think you find some kind of fried rice and then a whole teriyaki fried lobster.
No.
Peasant food.
No. I'm looking for shrimp or crayfish.
Artie definitely was like, why would you cook shrimp? And then you stuff a shrimp in his mouth and his eyes dilate.
Yeah, you see how they turn pink when you cook them?
He's like, I'll buy your store. Give me everything.
Also, you do notice quite an abundance of seafood here, and it's all very, very cheap. Even things which some might know as delicacies is just all dirt cheap.
Excellent.
The fish aren't weird, right?
No. This is not a what is it, a Port Meridian case? Was it Port Meridian or was it Biancarta? It was Biancarta.
Biancarta, yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
like that. So now you just have about an hour and a half more, or maybe even an hour and a quarter of riding just straight west, with the sun slowly rising behind you over your head towards the warehouse district.
I think while we're in the process, when there's a quiet moment, Jill's going to use a send to Lachlan and just a quick message do you still have that sending stone? I'm really sorry. I love you a lot. I love you so much.
Did we establish whether or not you say the message aloud for ascending specifically?
No, you hear sendings in your head.
No, you hear them, but do you speak them?
No.
Okay.
No, Jilliana, she might mutter under her breath, but no, she does not have to say the sending aloud to cast it.
Okay, cool. So it's very clear that you are casting a spell, and maybe it's even clear what spell you're casting, but the nature of it is, in fact, obscured to the guard who's in the coach with you.
Yeah, and I mean, she'll probably do it while, like, everybody's, like, talking and it's a conversation she's tuned out or something.
After a while, you hear back, yeah, I've still got it. I love you too. I'm sorry that I had to be so standoffish. Is there something you wanted me to do? Well, actually, he doesn't say do, wanted me to, and then it cuts off. But you can infer he meant to do.
Shit, I really didn't want to. Okay, well, if he has the sending stone, then she doesn't have to burn another spell to answer the question.
Yeah.
Then she'll just sort of reach into her bag and just kind of thumb the sending stone and send that and say, no, nothing. I just wanted to say hi. This is weird, and I'm sorry, and I love you.
You hear back, hi, I love you too. I hope everything goes well today. And it ends there.
Jill just kind of like, Jill is probably just hand and face looking out the window, and I think she kind of like leans into her hand and smiles a little.
The guard watches you, but says nothing. So the trip through the trip through the city of Volcaris is very strange. You've never driven through a city in a straight line for this long. Eberron was big. This is boggling. And it doesn't really feel like you're even moving through a city sometimes. But the road stretches out before you in this strange pearlescent color. And eventually you notice that the houses and shops start to turn more into industrial buildings and factories and warehouses. And finally you come to a fairly busy corner, which is in fact the corner of 3rd Avenue and Golot Street. The guards jump down. You see Herenia outside jump down and talk to a few people. Someone points in a direction and she mounts back up, and you ride back out to the south. And eventually you come to a clearing in the streets, and there is in fact a large warehouse that has been painted purple.
Ah, there we are, she says, pointing to that warehouse.
Everywhere around you there are laborers in various states of filth from the hard work they've been doing, carrying things, lifting things, chopping wood, carrying water.
Wow, you were right. It is extremely purple. All right, Wynn.
All right.
You're taking point on this one?
She nods her head, swings out of the door while the carriage is still moving, and says, "We're here," she says, and then gestures to the purple warehouse. If you don't mind, Herenia?
Yes, Herenia has already dismounted and is directing the laborers. She's spoken with a few people. One laborer has come up and seems to be in charge here. She's wearing like a purple armband, and she goes and unlocks the door to the warehouse. And then the laborers that are with you take these 3 large, heavy crates stamped with the magic safety symbol and bring them inside.
Wynn follows along.
The forewoman, who it seems to be in charge here, she holds up her hand to you. She's a young Verdoni woman, and she says, "Please wait outside for a moment, ma'am."
Of course, she gives a thumbs up and then pauses to wait next to Jill and Artie.
The worker goes inside, shuts the door. You feel like the edge... You know that feeling you get when magic is being cast in the vicinity where you can just kind of sense the edge of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, your ears kind of pop.
You get that.
It's like a loose wire inside of an elevator.
Maybe something like that. You hear it, and it's the feeling of someone casting a spell. But then holy shit, the feeling of magic amplifies, and it feels like someone is casting a high level spell. It's like if the first spell was a fuse, the second one was the explosion.
Neat.
And from underneath the door of this large purple warehouse comes a puff of sparkling smoke.
Oh.
So that's good, right?
Seems good to me.
Either that or cacophony has come back.
The door opens again, and to the three of you, you see the forewoman come out, and her hair is standing on end, and her whole body is covered in sparkles. And she says, "Come on in, come on in."
Thank you. She says that she
Do
wanders
you?
in then.
Inside, the warehouse is actually pretty empty, except for the floor, and the floor is painted with all manner of arcane sigils. It looks like, if you didn't know better, you were walking into, like, a massive death trap. Except, there are walkers working around, workers walking around like it's nothing.
Also, we bought so much stuff from Red. Shoot, yeah.
It would be a very long con to kill us now.
Yeah.
Right. And in the center of the room are 3 broken down crates, 3 piles of some kind of padding or insulation, and a bunch of beams that have been set up in the shape of a door. And that door has a film of blue, opaque light covering it.
The special beams.
Is that door
Special
got a red
beam.
shop
Beam?
or something?
Oh, like wooden beams, sorry, not like laser
No,
beams.
I know. It's just beams. The special
Beams.
beams.
Yeah.
The magical fruit.
As you walk past the door, you realize that it's not being held up by anything, and there's nothing on either side of it except, the world. It's just got this film of blue light in it.
Portal, whatever.
It's a portal. And the worker says, "All right, now feel free to go on through. I'm sure the sisters will want to speak to you. It's very important when you walk through this, you need to hold in your mind a picture, an image of a bird's wing. This is critical. I can't stress this enough.
Any bird?
Any bird will do, as long as it is a wing with feathers.
Single wing?
A single
shit.
wing.
Remind me what a bird is again?
They're the things that fly around.
Oh, the fly.
One of the workers points up to the rafters, and there's a pigeon up there flapping.
Oh god, why is it so fat?
Because it's a dove. They look like that.
Do you try and walk through the door and hold the image in your mind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What kind of bird are you guys going to think about?
Yeah, tell me what kind of birds you're thinking about.
I think I'm going to think about seagulls.
I think I'm going to think about a falcon. They have that nice tapered wing shape.
I was just thinking about the pigeon he just saw.
I mean, that's very reasonable. You just looked at it. And yeah, as you pass through, there is a whooshing sound, but it feels like you're walking up to... Jill, are you leading through? Who's leading the way through?
Wind's leading.
I'm leading.
Win. When you walk up to it, you reach out a hand and press it against the portal, and it feels like you're touching the surface of liquid. Like your hand can immerse into it, but there is a little bit of surface tension. And then you step through, and you feel like you're splashing through a water surface into just air again. It's a very strange sensation to feel it wash over you, but to not get wet and to not step into water. And then you step through into another warehouse. And the 3 of you stumble out into this room, and this warehouse is not mostly empty. It is full of shelves.
Intriguing.
All around you, shelves as far as the eye can see. You know that scene in The Matrix where they have guns, lots of guns?
Yes.
Yes.
Vaguely.
Picture that, but reaching up to 10-foot high ceilings, and it's full of crates instead of guns.
Yes, the warehouse at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, top men.
And standing in front of you, there is a small kobold lady. She appears to look like a gecko with a bright blue skin, wearing baggy overalls, and with a belt of tools hanging around her waist. And Blue says to you, "Ah, hello, you've made it at last.
That we have.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you very much for helping my sister."
Of course, it is part of the job, but I was actually wondering if we could, on top of that, if we might be able to talk to you and your sister about perhaps procuring something and having it sent to Volcaris.
The kobold nods her head and says, I'm sure we can work something out, but would you like tea for now?
That sounds wonderful.
Tea would be great.
She turns and walks away without so much as a gesture and starts talking as she walks. She says, well, you've met my sister Red. I'm sure you can work out. I am Blue. I imagine you can't possibly tell why. I was just in the middle of something, so I'll quickly finish this up, and then we will go get tea. And she goes to a window in the side of the warehouse, and you didn't even realize that this one particular set of shelves was backed up against a window, but it was. And the wall appears to be made of some kind of metal. And she lifts up a blind, and you see out this glass window the blackness of wild space.
Huh. Is that the void?
There is ground, but it's like dusty and dry, and there's no light in the sky. It's just blackness.
Unbeing.
Oh, we're on an asteroid right now.
On a phone? Like, whereabouts?
It moves. I don't actually know exactly where we are right now. Somewhere in Kryn space, I think.
A lot of Kryn space.
Intriguing.
There it is. And she leans forward against this window. You actually all have to duck a little except Artie. Jilliana and Wynn, you have to duck a little to see through the window because the top of it is lower than your eye level. And you see a creature. It looks a bit like a bear, except in the same way that the space owl had blue streaks in its feathers. This has blue streaks in its fur.
How big of a bear is it?
It's about, I would call it huge size, so about 20 feet long, and it's a good way away. It's like, I don't know, what's 100 meters in feet? It's about 300 feet away-ish, but it is moving towards the warehouse. And it's galloping. It looks like it's galloping towards the warehouse. And Blue is standing there and says, look, a space bear. It's the most dangerous flying creature in the system, in the sphere.
Is it okay that it's galloping this way?
Should we stop it?
I should point out, it is not actually flying.
Okay.
But then you realize she has something in her hand, and she makes a gesture with it. And there is a tremendous explosion underneath the bear that launches it up out of the asteroid into wild space.
Oh, shit. Oh, is that a trap?
She holds up what looks like a small gold disc with a button on it and says, something like that, and pockets it. Sometimes things get a whiff of magic here and try to break in, but I have my ways.
I can see why you'd need to keep moving.
The smell of magic is very tempting. Come on, let's get everyone some tea. She leads you through these rows and rows of crates on shelves with the really high ceiling. And eventually you come to a small office at the back of the room. There are some wooden chairs, there's a coffee table, and there's a kettle. And she snaps her fingers, and a little flame appears in her hand, and she puts the fire under the kettle and just holds it there. And while she holds it there, she's like, so, how has your day been?
Mine's not been too bad, actually.
It's been alright.
You, Asimar, you look a little rough.
Yeah, it's fine.
Blue shrugs and says, okay, well, your business, not mine. So Red's out at the moment. She's over in realm space at the moment, working today. But I'll let her know that you deliver this. Thank you very much. With this door set up, we should be able to open a stall in Volcaris.
How many storefronts you got?
She looks up, counts on her fingers, and seems to be counting quite a lot. And says, I think this will be number 15. We're going to have to find a new schedule, to be honest. We used to have one per day per fortnight. Might have to double up.
So are you guys working on a mail service? Because I mentioned that to Red and she seemed excited.
Yes. The kettle is starting to whistle, and she takes her hand out from underneath its little stand and pours it into a couple of very mismatched mugs. Not a single one of these mugs is identical, and most of them have a chip in them. As she distributes this tea out to you, she says, yes, I've nearly gotten pinned down the way to get things out of the doors that are not people. Or out of the stalls that are not people. It's very difficult.
What about when people buy things from you?
There's a trick to it, and she's giving you that look of both Win and Jill know it. It's the look you give someone when you want to explain complex magic to them, but they need like a year of training just to understand the fundamentals. It's the mage's way of saying, trust me on this one.
Win just kind of nods.
Fair enough.
The tea is not very good, by the way. It tastes like shitty tea you'd get in a waiting room at a mechanics shop.
Oh, it tastes like an American microwave did, huh?
Basically, more or less.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great brew.
Yeah, sorry. Of all the things I haven't invented yet, a tea maker is not one of them. You'd think I'd do it better by now, but... But, and her eyes light up. You guys are spell sailors, yeah?
Yes, which is actually associated with what I was hoping to ask you about.
Oh? Do tell.
Due to a long story that I am not going to get into, our ship has been completely demolished. So I am wondering, Volcaris currently has basically no ships that are able to be purchased. I'm wondering if there's any way we could buy one from you and your sister and have it sent to Volcaris.
They've got a civil war going on, haven't they?
She nods her head. Yes, they do.
She puts a hand on her chin and licks one of her eyes thoughtfully.
She's so cute.
Nice.
So here's the deal. I'm not a shipwright. I used to have a couple of Spelljammer helms for sale, but they got bought up. Tell you what, I'll keep an ear to the ground, and I'll let you know if I come in contact with anything.
Yeah, if you get any leads on at least anything that we might be able to use for, like, a crew of...
Quick math, there's the
less
three
than
of
10
us.
now, I think.
Yeah, less than 10, unless we can hire on a few others, but there's us three.
Around 10 to 15, probably 8 to 15 people.
Yes.
If we're being generous.
A small Spelljammer, okay.
Yeah, we came from a strike ship.
Alright.
So we don't really have the muscle to do much bigger.
She says, hold on a second, and she gets up and goes behind her desk and rummages around in one of the drawers. And she pulls out something small and palm-sized, and then grabs, like, what looks like a chisel, and quickly inscribes something in the back, and tosses it to whoever's closest. Wynn seems to be doing the talking here, so she'd probably toss it to Wynn. And Wynn, this is the sending stone, and on the back of it, it says, property of the purples. That's what she's inscribed. And she says, when I get in touch, when I find something out, I will message you on that and let you know. Is that okay?
That sounds fine. Do you want us to leave a deposit or anything? That way you could at least, if you find something, you could maybe put a deposit down right away, or what have you, and we'll pay kind of like a booking cost?
Blue says, frankly, you've done us a big favor, and if we get our hands on a ship, we'll want it anyway, so don't stress too much about it.
Thank you.
They also owe us money for payment for the job done, as I recall.
That's fair. That's fair.
Oh, has Red not paid you yet?
Don't think so.
All right.
I don't think we did that in advance. I think that was an upon delivery.
Okay. Do you remember how much she owed you?
No.
Not in the slightest.
I'd have to go back and listen to an audio archive of our adventures, available wherever you can download podcasts.
So Blue flops back in her chair and rolls her eyes and says, of course Red didn't pay you up front. Oh,
honestly, she may have. I don't know.
I'll be quite frank. She might have. It has been a while and we've been through some drama. Don't worry about it for now.
You know what? She's got your number.
Yeah.
She points at Wynn.
You've got my number now. I've got your number. We'll figure it out.
You've got her stone. She's got your stone?
Yes.
Well, yeah, I've got your stone. I'll chase up Red. You chase up your archives and we'll work something out, and then you can leave it with our people at the warehouse.
She gives a thumbs up.
Actually, quick request that I know I'm going to be looking for. I know some basics about, like, wheelchairs that other people have to push. I don't know if you guys have any schematics on anything that you could, like, mass produce or produce, like, relatively cheaply. Any kind of wheelchairs that might be able to be self-propelled.
Blue, again, puts her hand in her chin in her hand, and licks her eyes again. You get the feeling that's what she does when she's thinking. Keeps her eyes dry. Some kind of drive spell or rotation, but how would you keep that from overdoing it? And
Yeah,
then
I
you
was
might
thinking
have
maybe
to-
like something that would have some kind of crack and like unseen servant. I mean, Mage Hand is good, but it doesn't last long enough unless you're able to do it in perpetuity.
Jill, the moment you say unseen servant, she looks up at
Mhm.
you and says, "You know a little bit about magic, don't you?"
I know a little bit, yeah.
She's a cleric.
Hmm.
Very powerful cleric, though she'll deny it to her deathbed.
Ah.
I know the kind. An unseen servant, that only lasts an hour, but if I could anchor it to something, and she reaches out, you see she does not, like, seem to think about this. With a gesture that she's done a million times, she reaches into one of the pouches on her waist and pulls out a notebook and a piece of charcoal, and then looks down and just starts scribbling something, and is muttering to herself.
It's just that I know this has to be a problem that other people have tackled before because, I mean, there's going to be a lot of people with mobility issues throughout Wild Space. This can't be something that an artificer has never tried to tackle before.
Your words seem to shake Blue out of her reverie, and she says, you'd be surprised. A lot of people are consumed with their own needs."
Well, either way, I'd like to... The thing is that the hospital that we're at, of the clinging, the one in the House of Adoni, Web, Spoke, something, I don't know. It's like, it's really perfect for, like, any kind of wheel, like, mobility aid, but they're pretty much just working off of crutches and canes there, and it just seems like a waste, you know?
Blue has gone back to scritching and scratching. If you glance at what she's doing, it looks like equations. It looks like maths. And she says, "I don't know how we'd handle the weight limitations, but this is a very interesting challenge. Anytime there's a war, the city will be understaffed on its hospital staff."
Mm-hmm. And I mean, you could probably at least, like, limit the parameters for now just by working off of Vidoni figures, so, like, 6 to 7 feet tall, humanoid, bipedal, and just, like, work with that to start.
She snaps the notebook shut and says, "I am going to be thinking about this all day now. Thank you so much." There is not a hint of sarcasm in her voice. You have just given a nerd a difficult problem.
Oh, you know, happy to oblige.
Jill, make an insight check on me real quick. In fact, anyone who's watching the situation, feel free to make an insight check.
Let's see if I do better than earlier.
Artie's definitely, like, roaming around the shelves.
I got a dirty 20.
And I got a 21.
All right. Oh, Arturos, you didn't roll the insight check?
No, he's like, looking at stuff. He's not paying attention to any of this.
Then real quick, Arturos, what you probably see is a lot of symbols. Some represent schools of magic, some you recognize, some you don't, and they're in all languages under the sun, but they seem to be crates of magic items. If you reach up and touch any, you get slightly electrocuted. Not harmfully, but painfully.
I want... You know what would be funny?
He's gonna do it multiple times, isn't he?
No, like a mage hand that just slaps Artie's hand whenever he tries to touch something.
You know, I like the idea that each one has a different kind of defense. One has the crate immediately heat up, so you have to draw your hand back. One electrocutes you. One has a mage hand that smacks you on the wrist. Stuff like that.
One of them just manifests a sea cucumber that barfs all over you.
No, why?
Is that a reference to something specific?
No, that's just what sea cucumbers do. I got vomited on by one of them once, but I didn't know what the hell I was looking at.
Yeah, don't they, like, poop their guts, like, vomit their guts all over you?
Yeah, it's their
Yeah,
single defense mechanism.
Yeah. God, they're gross. Jilliana and Wynn, with a 20 and a 21 respectively, Blue scratches the back of her head and looks up at Jill in a kind of hesitant way and says, "Perhaps, Jilliana, was it? Perhaps you could come back and talk with me more about magic sometime?"
Sure, probably. I don't exactly know what my schedule's gonna be like this month, but I can give it a shot.
Well, you have my stone, and there is a barely restrained joy in her voice when you give an affirmative answer.
Okay. Cool.
The blueness on her cheeks has darkened a little bit.
Oh no.
She says, "Well, that's very wonderful." And she goes to grab another notepad off the desk, knocks it off the desk, it falls on the floor. She's like, "Oh, sorry, don't mind me." Gets under the desk to try and grab it, bumps the desk, more things fall off the floor. She's like, "Ah, shit.
Wynn
sorry."
is charmed.
And very clumsily tries to clean up this mess she is somehow making worse with every motion, every movement.
Been fucking there!
Jill leans over to Win and mutters, "Is that what it's like looking at me do things?"
Not precisely, but yes.
Oh, boy.
Mostly whenever you're very anxious.
Yeah, no, I'm getting a little bit of that.
Blue eventually manages to get the tin can full of quills, the notebooks, and the little paperweight, which looks like a dead mechanical gizmo, up off the ground and onto the table, and she straightens up and brushes off her overalls and gets grease on her hands from her overalls, and she wipes that on the butt of her pants, and she's like, "I am so sorry about that," and she folds her hands in front of her as her little claws click together. Actually, no, she doesn't have claws, she has sticky finger pads.
It's fine.
There's in fact a little Velcro sound as she pulls her fingertips apart.
Don't worry about it.
Well, thank you. I will make sure that you are paid in the next few days, and I will chase Red up about all that.
Thank you.
And I'm so very sorry. Mistress Elf, what was your name again?
I am Wynn.
Wynn, you know the Seeker.
I do know the Seeker, yes.
Oh my goodness. Her eyes widen. She bought the statue boxes off us.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I sent one to her and she sent one to me.
Oh, I have something for you. And she holds up a finger, this big, flat, broad, single finger of a gecko, and says, wait right here. So there's the main door in the office, and then there's a second door which leads into a dark room. And she scrambles into that dark room, and you hear a command word, and a light comes on. And then there's an almost comical amount of clinking, clanking, rattling, and shuffling, and maybe the sound of a cat.
She seems nice.
She does seem nice.
Yeah. How are you two handling this? How are you reacting to this?
I think no selling it entirely. This seems normal.
Yeah, I think also no selling it entirely, just no reaction.
Okay.
Oh, so they got it. So the Zeta got it from them. That makes sense.
She knows it does make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Have you heard from her lately? Is she still having a hard time finding sort of time to write and stuff?
I haven't heard from her since the last since we left. Oh, you know the
Tafos.
Minotaur place, Tafos. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Honestly, they're all kind of running together in my head at this point because it feels like it's a whirlwind.
Oh, I feel ya.
Glad I'm not the navigator. All Kara.
I was thinking maybe, if they're able to, actually do some mail delivery, you guys might actually be able to keep in contact a bit better.
Yeah, that's kind of a nice hope that I'm hoping for.
Mm-hmm. Was that a cat?
I think it was a cat.
Oh, dear. Hey, Artie, how you doing back there?
Ow! This one hurts. Tingles.
Okay, well, I just did a heal on you, 2 days ago. Don't get yourself so bad. I need to do another one, all right?
It's fine. Though, don't
Okay.
touch that one. It feels like when you step on a thorn.
Sharp.
No, specifically you stepping on a thorn.
Oh, so the specific sound, the specific feeling of that?
Yeah.
Oh, that must be extra weird with your scales and stuff.
It was a weird experience.
Hmm.
They did push me into a bramble bush. Fun times.
What did you do?
Did you just touch things you shouldn't have? Did you touch Artie? Did you touch things you shouldn't have?
No.
I think he touched something he shouldn't have.
He definitely touched things he shouldn't have.
He always touches things he shouldn't.
She nods.
So, after a little minute, Blue stumbles out of the room again, and she's holding something in her hand, and it looks a little bit like a sending stone, but it's a different shape. It's more... Most sending stones are smooth and round rocks. This one has divots carved into the outside of it, and an entirely different symbol engraved on it. She hands you the stone, Win, and says, "This is a unlimited sending stone."
Oh!
Oh, what? Unlimited like how?
Unlimited as in, you talk into it, and words come out the other side in real time.
Oh,
But
my
only
goodness.
after 9 p.m.
Whenever you want, for as long as you want.
There's no word limit?
So Blue takes the stone back off you and it says, "Hold on 1 second." And she intones the command word in another language. And the stone starts to glow. The symbol on it lights up. And you hear a familiar voice come through. "Hello? Blue, are you there?" Blue says, "Hey, Thazita! It's good to hear from you. How's your day going?" And
Wynn claps her hand over her mouth, and this is Thazita!
And then Thazita says, "Oh my gods! Win?"
It's
Actually,
me,
no, she
yes.
says, "Cacophony? Cacophony,
Yeah.
is that you?"
Call me Wynn, please. But yes!
Win, sure, Win. I'm sure you'll explain everything.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello! I was just thinking about how I had it... Well, of course, yes, we're here with Blue.
You hear like a sound of like hands clapping together and a squeal, an excited squeal, and she says,
Oh my god.
oh my goodness. Oh, my darling. Oh, I'm so happy. I didn't think it would be this soon."
I didn't think it'd be this soon either. We're traveling in the middle of Vodani space, and but right now we're with Blue on an but we're in the middle of Volcaris, and I was like, oh well, I probably won't hear from her for a while because I'm in the middle of nowhere in Volcaris, and there's a civil war. Who can talk there? But no, I'm excited.
The seed says, "Oh my goodness. Oh, this is so exciting. Blue, is the stone ready to be handed over?" And Blue says, "I need like 5 more minutes with it to stabilize it, and then it's good to go. I can literally do that right now."
That sounds wonderful.
And Thazita says, "Oh god, okay, do what you gotta do, and then hand me over, because I have so much to catch up on."
Yes!
And she can barely contain herself from the sounds of it.
Well, if you want, since I don't want to take up a lot of Blue's time, I can take it. Well, we're in the hospital right now. But I can take it, and then once we get back to the hospital, I'll call you.
Blue says, Nonsense, 5 minutes.
All right.
And Blue disappears back into the room, and you hear her saying as she walks off, "Thazita, get this away from your face. It might squeal a bit." You hear more clanking, and a moment there is like a piercing shriek as some kind of feedback comes through the stone.
Oh, that hurts.
Jill puts an arm around Wynn's shoulder and kind of squeezes and grins at her.
Wynn is kind of, whenever you're very excited and you don't really know how to show it, and your hands are kind of flailing a little bit. Her hands are kind of flailing.
Yeah, she's doing the hand flapping.
Yeah, she's doing like the hand flapping, hand flailing.
Hold it together, girl.
I'm holding it together, she says.
You're kind of going in and out of the cacophony there.
I don't know what to do about myself.
I'm as merry as a schoolboy.
We're going to the chocolate factory, Jill.
Golly gee whiz. I'm really happy for you.
I'm very excited too.
Also, I'm really gonna need to see the schematics on that thing. Unlimited sending?
Yes!
Lachlan's gonna flip.
Am I really the only one who thought of unlimited talk and text after 9 p.m.?
Yeah.
After a few more piercing shrieks that do set your teeth on edge, Blue emerges from the workshop with the stone again, and the glow in it is fading, and she says, "Okay, so now you can turn it on and off. So, if you need it to be quiet, it'll just buzz a little in your hand."
She nods.
You can put it on silent now.
I put it on silent.
And she teaches you the command words for it to basically make it signal silently or to just have your voice come straight through it.
She accepts this and holds on to it and kind of clutches it in both of her hands. Thank you, Blue. Thank you so much.
Blue bows and says, I'm just happy to see someone using it for a good thing, you know? And she like nervously scratches the back of her head.
Okay, I am absolutely going to need to know how you put this thing together. Like, I need to see some paperwork on that, because damn.
Blue says, I got the notes right here, and grabs out and like runs into the workshop and pulls out like a few pieces of paper. They're covered in mathematical formulas for arcane magic.
Ooh, okay.
You recognize a few things that have overlapped, but typically because divine magic doesn't work with schematics the same way artificing does, this is difficult for you to pass.
I am a divine caster. This is not exactly my wheelhouse, but I really want to hear how this whole thing works, because we've been working on some setting stuff on our end, and we've been working on some codebook, like phrasing shortcut stuff, just to kind of get around the 25-word limit, but I'd be really interested to hear how you jailbroke this thing.
It's the fucking jailbroken sailing stone.
It is!
Blue says, it's very simple. We just use a little mini portal to the positive energy plane and the negative energy plane, and we kind of just, and she like leans into you conspiratorially, we just kind of leech the power out of those.
That's fucking wild, and I'm not sure how that works.
And Blue says, yeah, look, it's experimental, but it's not going to explode on you again.
Okay.
The last one, well, we hired a cleric and we needed diamonds last time.
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
But, and she raises a finger again excitedly, this one should be fine.
Okay, well, it's under warranty for a while, right? Because I'd rather not res win if I don't have to.
I technically still have...
You're not paying for it. There's nothing to return. I do, however, care about the quality of the things I make, so if something breaks, bring it back to me, I'll try and fix it. Just whatever you do, if for any reason you find yourself traveling to the positive or negative energy planes, do not take it with you.
Okay.
That's actually very important for us to know. I will keep that in mind.
Yeah, file that one away for late game.
Late game? I don't know what you're talking about.
I will find a way to store it by then.
Yes, fantastic. Yeah, if you... Basically, because it has a little bit of each plane in it, bringing it to the other plane will cause a energy collapse, which is likely to cause a very large explosion.
Understood. I would rather not do that.
Yes, so would I. And she touches a hand to her abdomen in the way that you have all done when remembering a particularly grievous injury.
Mood.
There is a knock at the door of the office, and the worker, the purple armband worker, pops her head in and says, "Hey, boss, the Royal Guards are asking for the adventurers back."
I suppose we should be getting going.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much, Blue. It's been wonderful.
Blue gets up and vigorously shakes all your hands, and Jill, your handshake lasts like a fraction of a second longer than you feel like it normally would. Just a fraction. It's very polite. There is no like rudeness there, but it's just.
Uh-oh.
Arturos, do you say goodbye as well, or are you still exploring?
Oh, somebody has to call him in.
Okay. Eventually, the foreman finds you, Arturos, and reels you in to where the door is in the room. With one final wave from Blue, you step out back into the air of Volcaris, which is kind of choking now that you're there. It's gone from being cool and fresh to rather unpleasant.
Is that a difference of time of day, or because we've been elsewhere for a bit?
It's an air quality thing. You've come back and found basically the city smog is very noticeable now that you've been away from it for a minute.
Okay, because we've been away. Gotcha.
Is there anything else you all want to do out and about, or are you right to pile back into the coach and head back into the hospital?
Head back to hospital.
hospital town, baby.
Well, thankfully, the sun has crossed over your head, so you're not riding into the sun. And you spend the next 3 hours riding back towards the east-northeastern quadrant of the city.
Did that kobold seem like really excited about nerd shit to you guys too?
Extremely excited. I almost got the feeling she has a crush on you.
Oh, what? Oh, what? What? Really?
I did, yes. It might just be nerd excitement, though.
Huh.
I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, how many boxes did you touch?
How many boxes did you touch, Ari?
Like 36. I think every toe and half of a hand got zapped in some way.
You're still together. At least, you're still together.
What was your favorite?
The one that tastes like copper.
Oh.
Mmm. You might have some brain damage.
At least it didn't taste like burning toast.
Yeah. Oh boy.
As you pull back into the hospital grounds at about 3 p.m., you are met by Varas, and Varas says, "Ah, wonderful. It's good to see you all. Princess, I need to speak with you."
Who, me?
Oh. Juliana definitely takes a long moment to blink, look around for Antonia, and then, yeah. Oh, me, princess. Oh, yes. Definitely. Yeah, okay. What's up?
I have spoken with my superiors, and I'm very sorry, but... And he looks around nervously and says, "Please understand, this is not my words. This is the words of the Honorable Dux Felicity Virus. She has decreed that you must be," and again he looks awkward, "verified before you're permitted to touch anyone else in the hospital."
Ew. Okay. Well, that's kind of gross.
What's verification?
How does one get verified?
Tomorrow morning, you come to the courthouse. They'll question you and make sure you are who you say you are, and that you have the authority to act as the princess of Vodon. And once that is all confirmed, you'll be free to act with that authority. Until then, you're not a citizen, legally speaking, and so you can't work here.
Okay. Well, that gives me time to recharge my spell slots anyway. Cool.
He bows low and says, "I'm very sorry for the inconvenience. Your display of power earlier was truly admirable." And he seems nervous, like surprised at just how strong you actually are now that he's aware. He says, "Your display of power did amaze me, but I can't disobey the law. I'm sorry."
It's cool. I'm not trying to like impress you or something. I'm just that wasn't supposed to amaze you. Just look. In the meantime, can you maybe get some of that stuff together? I was talking about some of the patients, locations and stuff. Can you maybe start working on that, or get somebody to start working on that so we could hit the ground running once I get this thing over with?
He nods vigorously and says, "I'll get on that right away, princess," and sort of steps away, walks away from you, facing you a little bit, then turns and scurries off.
Hey, how's the like heels holding up on the prince?
He turns and says, "Oh, His Majesty is fine. He should be sobering up very soon."
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, His Highness. He would have said His Highness.
Right.
Oh no, I've got to go get a scribe so that they can paint a picture of us.
Photographic proof that they know each other, right? Jemjammer is performed by Annie Creighton, Anna Emmeline, Rio Rios, and Mackenzie Weaver, and is edited by Jake Mason. Our cover art is by Canary Witch, who can be found at canarywitch.cawrd.co, and our character design is by Rio Rios, who can be found at rio.rio.co. rios.com. Our opening and closing music is by Saad Akhtar Ali. For bonus content, such as Jilliana's private diary, behind-the-scenes homebrew stuff, and other features from our other shows, I Will Fight You and Date Me Dammit, our Patreon has it all from only $1 a month at patreon.com/thejemjam. Thank you so very much for listening. Stay safe out there, and we'll catch you next time.